it to get his ninjas through. Donatello is a fellow, has a win with machines. Raphael's got the most attitude on the team. Michelangelo.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another edition of Vento's Vault, where we're going to be entering the vault today with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. This is something that my good friend Simon, hello Simon, requested that I do. So I'm kind of just going to talk about not the turtle history as it pertains to that, but the turtle history as it pertains to me. I've got some things here to show you, and I've kind of set them out in segments for me to do. So this could be a long video, I'm not too sure, but thank you Simon for recommending this. If you would like to see me gibber about something to do with how interested I was back in the day of it, and still am to this day, then leave a comment down below. I'd really like to see what you would like to have me talk about. Last time was Super Mario 3, and I'm excited to be talking about Turtles today, so hopefully you'll be the same. So obviously Turtles started off in what, 1984 in comics, and there's a really good documentary called Turtle Power. It's the definitive history of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, so it's chronicles from the very start of it to up to the Nickelodeon kind of show, which is kind of what I'll be talking about, but nowhere near as in depth or as good as. But obviously the first comic that came out was something similar to this. This was obviously one that was given out on Free Comic Book Day. It's in black and white. They did then do a colour reprint of it some many years later. I think this was in 2009 or something like that. So I do have both of them. Obviously I would love to get the original one of this and have it graded, but I'm not rich, so that won't be happening anytime soon. They also did an IDW reprinted like the colour classics, so this was like number 5 I think it was, so this was just that redone. You can always tell if it's not the right one because it says IDW here. It has a barcode on it, then chances are it's probably not the same thing either. With the likes of the movies and stuff, they also brought ones out for that. So this is to do with the 1990 movie. Yeah, summer 1990 this came out. Really nice backdrop there with Shredder in the background and the turtles down the bottom. And I did one for Secrets of Ooze. I think I picked this up at a convention for like a couple of quid and was really surprised with it. Some really good nick as well, which I'm surprised at. But then you have Tuvar and Raza, is it, from the second movie? If you haven't seen the second movie, all you need to do on YouTube is type in Vanilla Ice Go Ninja Go Ninja. He's a huge Turtles fan. Has tattoos and everything. You also then had ones to do with the animation of it. So here we have April and her kind of what we would become accustomed to in the cartoon. And then obviously IDW are still going, from what I remember, is the Turtles comics. So this was like 100 penny press, so this was like $1 for like the first one. And then the one that really blew up was number 44. I have this, but this isn't the first printing of it, which was the death of Donatello, where Bebop and Rocksteady just really went to town and killed him with a sledgehammer, but shattering his shell and stuff. So yeah, I remember whenever that first came out, the people selling it for so much on eBay. Obviously if you're in the comics and stuff, I picked this up like many years ago. It actually came up my time hop that I think I picked this up for like about 4 quid, and the reason why was because there was a dinge here, which is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles art biography, which is basically just to do with all the comics, you know, like different covers and different things to do with, you know, there's, well, I'll see if I can find like original ones here to show you. So this is like book 1, and then you have like things to do with them, and then thumbnails and such. But yeah, if you're into your art books and stuff, just have a look on Amazon and see if there's like a secondary seller selling it, you know, for cheap. Right, so that's the comics out of the road. I'm going to set this down here. We'll talk about the movies first of all before we go on to something else. I picked this up whenever I was in America because I didn't have the 3 of them, and this was the first time I'd seen them on like pizzas. So I had to check in the middle of Walmart to see if this would play my Blu-ray player, which it does, because some of them are region locked. So obviously the 1990 movie was a big deal way back then. I remember watching that and just being blown away by how good it was. The second movie is still watchable, and I've never actually watched the third one because they time travel. Everybody's favourite giant turtles travel through time and space to feudal Japan to rescue their plucky sidekick April when a golden sword accidentally causes her to switch peoples with a rebellious samurai. Sounds fun, but I've never seen it. So the movies always have a place in my heart as well. And on that turtle documentary, there's a big thing to do with the first movie. I think this was 2007. Yeah, 2007. This one here, CG movie was released. So this actually has Chris Evans, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Kevin Smith, Patrick Stewart, and narrated by Lawrence Fishburne. I actually really enjoyed this movie for what it is. I really enjoyed it, and if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend you do. And then obviously we get on to the Michael Bay movies, which that one there was good and that one there not so much, and that's all I'm prepared to say about that. But obviously back in the day as well, the video games were a huge thing for me. There was quite a lot of them. I'm going to try something in a minute or two, and I'm going to try and insert footage from somebody playing it to show you what the arcade version of it was like and the NES version, which I have here. So something similar to, I think it was my friend Mike, he sent me this, so thanks Mike. So this is original NES one from 1989. That's the back of it there. We also do have the trusty manual, which has like all important information. Prepare to shell out some punishment. Yes. I always remember like it was more like a top-down thing at the start, and then once you went into a certain building or whatever, you would have, you know, side on, and you would pick your turtle. So you would have, each of them would have their different weapons. Obviously Raphael's would be, because he had a sai, it was like here in front of him, whereas Leonardo Donatello's would be the better one because his boa staff would just go, you know, extend quite long, get your mind out of the gutter, and then be able to hit enemies from far away. And then we have the trusty NES cartridge with the great artwork on the front there. The arcade game, I remember going to like a holiday destination, very much like over where in England where you used to go to Blackpool and stuff. Over here you would go to Portrush or Newcastle. Back in that day was just littered with arcade machines, and there would always be a trusty few that I would play, and the Turtles would be one of them. Again, that'll be the second video that I'll put in, because I would have played that after I played this. It's more in tune with the cartoon, because, you know, like it does have the theme tune at the start of it. The clips will only be like a couple of minutes long, so you may be talking like 4 minutes in total. So I'm going to put that in, and then once I've finished showing you that, and then I'm going to talk about the cartoons. But yeah, I remember that obviously you had like the cabinet in the middle, your TV in the middle, and you had like 4 joysticks around, so you can then pick your character. So very much reminiscent to the Michael Jackson Moonwalker arcade machine, the Simpsons arcade machine, which you could play as Bart, Lisa, Homer, or Marge, and pretty much everyone went for either Bart or Homer. I don't think I ever played as Lisa. But I remember that because you used to hit the button so hard, that the amount of blisters that you would get on your fingers some days later would be something fierce, because you were just whacking the button so much. But yeah, it always just holds a place in my heart. And then I really wish that they would bring out some of the older Turtle games onto the likes of the newer generation ones. Obviously, you did have some Turtle games, like I think it was Turtles Out of the Shadows, but I never actually played it. And Turtles obviously were part of the Injustice 2 video game as well, which was kind of weird. But yeah, they've added other things like Terminator and stuff like that as well. So so hopefully this works, and then I shall come back and talk to you about the cartoons. So join us after this.
going on, April?
I just have that music from the arcade one just going through my head. So if you do, then you're on the same boat as me. So yes, we're going to talk about the animation now. So I think it was in the early 90s whenever the animation came out, and then the action figures followed with them. Around Christmas time, I wanted Santa to get me the 4 turtles, and Mum and Dad had to help Santa out and managed to get me the turtles. I wasn't well that year. But I remember that my uncle had got me a turtles bag, and that's where I put all my turtle figures, was in that bag. And I still distinctively remember opening it, and there was always, whenever you open a toy or an action figure, you get that kind of plastic, that new toy smell, and I still remember that to this day. I don't have any turtle figures like the retro ones. I do have one of the classic collection ones, which is actually signed by Townsend Coleman. It says to Yo Chris Cowbungadoo, which was signed by Townsend Coleman, who was the voice of Michelangelo in the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So this is something special. So thank you, Mr. Lacey, for that. Whoops. So yeah, there's different ways that you can watch, obviously, the cartoons. The best way I find is with my Turtle Van, because I've probably seen this before, but it has all the discs in there for all the seasons. Of how many is there? Season 9 it goes up to. Dear Lord. So yeah, there's like 23 discs in here. Obviously, before I got this, I do have like the Cowabunga Classics one, and I did have series 1 to 2. But because Simon wanted to start watching Turtles again, I thought I would gift that to him. So hopefully, Simon, you'll start watching that. So this would be the best way for me to watch the Turtles cartoons, and it's something that I intend to fully do at some stage. Because I've got so much retro stuff to go through, it is hard to actually know where to go. So I'll give you a close-up of this. So you see the turtles in the front there, turtles, and then obviously there, it says turtles on the back, and the back it says heroes in half shell, and it says turtles on the front as well. Obviously, whenever it was out here, it was called Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles, not Ninja, because we weren't allowed like things with nunchucks and stuff. Weird. Once after that, there was in 2003 from Mirage Studios was another Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles version, which was a lot more darker than the animated, the kind of lighthearted animation that we got back in the early 90s. So I have a couple of these. So we have this, which is Volume 1, which is Attack of the Mousers. It's a killer theme tune for that. In fact, all the Turtles ones that I have shown you, I'm going to show you here, all have killer theme tunes. Number 2, which is Meet Casey Jones. Number 3, The Way of Invisibility. And number 4, which is The Shredder Strikes. I had a funny feeling I have one somewhere else, and I forgot to lift it up, but oh well. I think it was the last of the volumes anyway. And just going on that, again, with the books, there is a visual history, which is this, which basically chronicles everything Turtles from the very start, from the comics, before the Turtles were even invented, to what was the precursor to Turtles, all the way through to the Nickelodeon version of it as well. It's a really in-depth book with some class things, you know, to do with animation, as you can see here. It really has that new, you know, like the old book smell as well, which is just really, really nice. We have stuff there to do with the trading cards, the ooze, God, remember that all too well. There's Vanilla Ice with the Turtles as well. So yeah, I think I got this for about 20 quid on eBay, but it's a thick book. It has been kind of loved, but it just means that it's got a bit of character to it as well. Before we move on to the final one, is Turtles Forever, which is a full-length animated movie which kind of combines the 2003 version and the 1990s version. So you can see here that we've got like the 2003 version and the 90s version here. It just I think it does at some stage they do warp, and they do go to where the comic book version is as well. And then obviously in 2014 we then had the rebirth of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which was bought by Nickelodeon. We also had Rob Paulson, who did the voice for Donatello in the 90s version, did the voice for Raphael in the 90s version, did the voice for Donatello. In this version, you also had Jason Biggs, who was the voice of Leonardo, and then that went to Sean Astin, and Greg Sipes, who did the voice for Michelangelo as well. So we have season 1, again, color theme tune, season 2, and then we have season 3, volume 1, season 3, volume 2. Season 4, I don't know whether to buy or not because it was all set in space, and another art book that you can get is The Art of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which is basically all to do with the animated 2000 and, what did I say that was? 2014, 2012? You think I would remember things? 2014. So it's all to do with that. So one of the things there to do with the weapons. But again, just something, I mean, if I had a coffee table, you know, these would all be the books that would be in them because they're just something you can pick up and look at, you know, snakeweed and such. I don't want to go too, again, this has that book smell as well. So yeah, so that's going to do that for the 2012 one. Around that time, slightly before the 2014, before that came out, Dylan Cook, Mike Lacey and myself did a podcast called What the Shell. There is some episodes floating of that around, but I think you have to download the Stitcher app in order to find that, from what I remember. We did interview some people like Townsend Coleman, the late David Wise, who did some things on the original 90s version and also for He-Man and Masters of the Universe. With Townsend Coleman, we interviewed him on What the Shell, but I also interviewed him on Operation Retroshock, and if I can find the link for that, I'll pop that down below. It was a really, really good interview, and just was brilliant to speak to Townsend as well. And there's going to be one last thing that I need to talk to you about, and that was obviously in 2015 I started going to conventions, and one of the first conventions I went to was London Film Comic Con. That's where I met Simon for the first time, Dave and Robbie, and that's where the convention kind of started for a few years, and that's kind of petered out. It's so much money now, and with everything going on, who knows whenever the conventions will happen again, but hopefully sooner rather than later. But I met Kevin Eastman. That's me to indicate that I've put the photo here of me with Kevin Eastman. I always joke with me about it. Did you meet Kevin Eastman? Because I was there the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and basically every day I met him. I met him for the photo, I think on the Saturday. On the Friday, I'd met him and I got this signed, which is my, again, IDW reprint. So it says there, to Chris, Kevin Eastman draws a little turtle. I said to him about, you know, it being called Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles, obviously over here, which he knew about. I just said to him, said to him about, you know, how much it helped shape my childhood, and I said to him, I'm sure you get sick to death of hearing that, and he said, if I get sick to death of hearing that, then that's time that I stop doing all this. And he was just a lovely guy to meet. There was also a print, in fact, yeah, there was a print that you could get, which is this, which is the Turtles crossing Abbey Road, and it says there to Chris, Kevin Eastman, and it was limited to 250, and then basically the print was £15, but he signed it for you, so basically it was like you're getting a print for free. That's one of my prized possessions, because obviously my father was a huge Beatles fan, and to get that was something really good as well. And then I think it was on the last day, on the Sunday, I was going through I was really into my comics in then, going through a lot of the boxes, And then I found a Turtles book, and I was like, I wonder if I should get this signed by Kevin Eastman. And I went round, and you had no queue, and he got signed the 30th anniversary special edition of this signed to me down there. I also said to him, I'm not stalking you, I promise. But he was such a nice guy to meet, and one of the first ones that I had a really good encounter with, and it's just stuck with me because obviously Turtles was one of the three kind of big things in my childhood, obviously being Thundercats and Masters of the Universe. Turtles was such a big thing then. As you could probably understand by the way I've rabbited on for like about maybe half an hour or so with this. So apologies if this is a long video, but I just wanted to basically talk about the things to do with the Turtles and what they pertain to me. I'm not here to give you a history lesson to do with the Turtles and when it came out and stuff. If I got something wrong, I got something wrong. Also met Stephen Amell in, God, when would that have been? 2018, and wore this t-shirt, which is obviously a cross between Arrow and him playing Casey Jones. And if I remember, I'll insert the photo here of me with Stephen Amell. He was great to meet as well, and I just love this facial expression whenever he's pointing to the t-shirt. But yeah, Turtles has always been a big part of my life. Kind of He-Man, Turtles, Thundercats. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed our look into the vault with myself, and yeah, let me know what you would like me to hear me ramble about next, and thank you very much for watching, and until next time.